Okay, turn to the reference section. Pull up the Welcome to My World page, which I think is right after the scale reference sheet. I can't remember what comes before, but
Rhythm notation reference.
Rhythm notation reference sheet. It's right after that in the reference section. We're going to look at Welcome to My World. This is by my good friend Leonard Jones, who graciously allowed me to use his songs in our class. So Welcome to My World. Let's take a look at that chart for a minute. One thing is, it's in 6/8. You remember we talked last week about rhythmic notation. It's typically in 4/4, but not always. The top note means 6 notes get one count. Get one measure, excuse me. The top number means 6 beats per measure. The bottom number means an 8th note is going to get one count. Okay? So the thing is with the 6/8 beat, a lot of times the feel can have a pulse of 2 counts per measure, and in between each of the 2 counts, there's 2 more beats. So let me explain. We're going to do a 6/8 discussion. If I've got 6 beats per measure, it's very common, and I'm going to make these all 8th notes. Pretend this is all one big measure. But it's very common to feel a pulse on this one and a pulse on that one. And so if I count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it'll feel like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And even though there's 6 beats, there's an emphasis on 2 of them, so it feels almost like a pulse of 2, but the inner beats are 3 at a time. Okay? So you could write slash notation with 6 slashes, and sometimes I've done that, but you can also write slash notation with 6/8 with 2. So if you look on Welcome to My World, I use the 2 pulse method. So each slash is representing 3 8th notes on this chart. Does that make sense? So when we see at the beginning, intro turnaround, you'll also notice, if you need to blow it up or whatever, you'll notice that the first measure of each line, I've got a courtesy measure number underneath the line. I didn't do it at the beginning because I figured you guys could all figure out where measure 1 is. Right? We're good with where measure 1 is. But the second line, you'll see I've got a 5 there because that's measure number 5. The second line, I've got measure 13. So if I holler out a measure number, those are your guideposts to know where we're at, and you just have to count up. So I think it's kind of silly to put a measure number under every single measure. That gets kind of silly. Did you find it now?
Yes.
It is a little bit small. Now, what you could do though is with the on your computer on the PDF that we'll send you, you can blow it up a little bit larger, or just even print it out with larger print. For the record, my 18-year-old daughter who typeset this actually had it far smaller, and I was like, you gotta get it bigger, we can't see it. So this is actually bigger than she originally intended. So everybody say, thank God for Jesus.
Thank God for Jesus.
Okay, so I'll point out, and tritone, very nice. I'll point out to you that this chart does not have a key signature. Okay, this is also pretty common. It's great if you put a key signature, but a lot of music changes the tonal center, if you remember from Module 9, often enough, or it's going to assume that the musician is going to figure out what the tonal center is from the chords that are happening. But in this particular case, we didn't bother putting a key signature. I could have put it in E, because it is in E for the first 3 lines of the song. I could have put a key signature there, but opted not to. It's totally legitimate to not do that, because it's assuming that the player is going to understand. So let's talk through a couple of things before we listen to the song. Notice at the beginning, the first 4 measures, the intro turnaround, there's a repeat symbol. So you got a beginning and ending repeat. And you'll notice that over measure 3 and 4, it says repeat until vocal begins. So this is sort of a safety, because maybe the band, maybe the artist wants to start the intro, and maybe he wants to talk about the song over the intro. If the musician is just reading the repeat and he starts playing the verse and reading down the map as it's written, he might get ahead of the game. So that says we're going to repeat this section until the vocal starts. When the vocal begins, then we go on to the verse. So it's an unknown number of repeats because it's going to be cued. Does that make sense? Okay. So it's 2 bars of E, a bar of A, actually a bar and a half of A. If you'll notice that the B is on the second half of the bar there, measure 4. Repeat over and over. When he starts singing, we go down to measure 5. Now we've got 4 measures to repeat there. It does the same thing. You notice that letter B is on the second half of the measure. Okay, so measure 5, 6, 7, and 8. Measure 8 has a B starting in the second half. We repeat that once for those 4 bars, then it goes to C sharp minor, 2 bars. Everybody following with me so far? Is anybody lost? And then D and B minor. Now it goes on to measure 13. It's a different set of chords for 4 measures that we repeat once. And then there's 2 measures that D with an A in the bass, alternate bass. And there's a build. That little symbol under the D over A section is called a crescendo. It just means to get louder. Then we have the pre-chorus, measure 19. Now this is fun. Check this out. Pre-chorus, measure 19, 20, 21, 22. Next line, 23, 24, 25. Now we've got first, third, and fifth ending, which means play that measure G and then repeat back to 19. Does that make sense? So the very first time we get to measure 19, we go 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. First ending, 26. We play the G, and now we go back. Now we're on our second time through. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Now we're going to the second ending. We don't play 26. We go to the second ending, which is on the next line, measure 27. The second ending, the difference is that we need to play G for 2 measures. See, in measure 26, we had to play G for 1 measure and then repeat. But on the second and sixth ending, on the chorus, we need to do 2 measures of G. And then he throws in this meter change. So now we're looking at measure 29, where it says 2-4. Okay? So the meter changes for just a moment. It goes into a 2-4 meter. He plays the G chord and the A chord, jumps back to a B minor on the 6-8 on the next line. Then does a B minor and A over C sharp 2-4 again. Does a bar of D. Now at the bottom of the page, the bar of D. Now notice, at the end of the, don't turn the page yet actually. We're at the very bottom of this page where it says the D chord. It gives us some instructions. It says second ending DC, sixth ending to coda. Now at this spot in the music, which is bar 32, we would have only arrived there 2 different ways. If we had gotten to bar 27 and taken the second ending, we would have arrived there. If we'd have gotten to bar 27 and took the sixth ending, we would have arrived there. Okay? So if you look back at bar 19, that whole pre-chorus section, it ends with a first, third, and fifth ending and a second and sixth. First, third, and fifth, we're always repeating back to 19. Second and sixth, we take the instructions at measure 32. Okay? So when we take the second or sixth ending at 27, we're going to end up at bar 32, and then it gives us instructions for each one. Second ending, DC, go back to the top. Okay? So then we go back to the top, we repeat those 4 bars, we go to the verse, we repeat those 4 bars, we go to the next line, we repeat those 4 bars. Now we're at the pre-chorus, and it's our third time through. Pre-chorus, measure 19, 20, 21, 22, next line, 23, 24, 25. This is our third ending. Play measure 26, back to 19. Now it's our 4th time through. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Now it's our 4th time through. Where's the 4th ending? 4th ending's on the next page. Everybody say, thank God for Jesus. And tritone. So notice at the top of page 2 is a 4th ending. Woohoo! Also happens to be the bridge of the song. You notice that we play G 1 bar, just like the first, third, fifth ending. And now a whole new section has come up. So we've got now on that top line of page 2, we got the G, and then we start this 4-bar phrase that gets repeated over and over. What does it say at the end of that line? 3 times total. Is everybody at the same spot? Everybody see where it says 3 times total? Just double check and we're all on the same page. Same spot. So we're going to play those 4 bars 3 times total, or a total of 12 measures. And then we'll move on to measure 38. Second line. 39 changes the meter. 40 goes back to 6/8. 41 changes the meter. 42 goes back to the 6/8, and then it says DC. How about that? Another DC. This was the 4th ending, but now we're back to the top, so which means we go back to page 1. This time it's our 5th time through when we get to the pre-chorus. So back to the pre-chorus, measure 19. This is our 5th time through. Now we go 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 5th ending, measure 26, back to the pre-chorus, back to 19. Now we're on the 6th time through at measure 19. And we go 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Now we take the sixth ending, which is just the line below that, the chorus. Has everybody followed me so far? Is anybody lost? Mm-hmm. A little bit lost?
You don't go back to the intro, you just go back to the pre-chorus.
No, when you say go back, at the end of the fourth ending on the second page, and it said DC, that was go back to the top.
The top.
Right? I just kind of skipped over it in the way that I was saying it. So I can, we'll go back to the top, blah, 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 then we end up at 19, fifth time, sixth time. Gary, be sure to go back to the video and walk through it a couple more times. And we're about to listen to the song. You'll get another couple of shots at this in terms of mentally figuring out. Sixth ending, now look at this. The sixth ending at bar 27, 27, 28, 29, next line, 30, 31, 32. Now it says sixth ending to coda. So we go over to page 2 and boom, on the third line there's the coda. So I'm going to holler when we get there and say, here's the coda. Now the coda is like the ending section. Now, just to make it more fun, you're going to do those 3 bars at, where the coda starts, 43, 44, 45. Now notice at 46 we've got a repeat symbol. And then that repeat ends at 53 where it says repeat until Q. So those 2 lines get repeated over and over and over until somebody says, hey, we're done with this section. Somebody, it depends on the artist, they do one of these looks, or they hold up their hand, or they say, final time on the mic, or something. Some cue is going to happen that's going to let you know that we're finishing. And once the final time through, notice it says at bar 54, band out suddenly. Right? So we're all rocking and rocking and rocking, and when he cues it, we stop, and as you'll hear on the recording, that he finishes it out towards the end. Okay? So let's take a listen to this piece of music and follow along in the chart.